What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. Story time. Again, this is not something with a broader life lesson, but I just thought it would be slightly entertaining. I wanted to talk to you today about my worst attended workshop ever. And I bring this up because of the amount of effort and manpower that went in behind it. I will tell you that you could probably have a worse attended workshop if you had 0 people show up. That's pretty poor, but and I guess that's kind of an absolute. I guess you can't have a negative number. I will tell you, I did have people attend the workshop. I'm just thinking that, my experience was with this workshop, presentation, seminar, was that it still sticks with me. It still haunts me in some ways because it was unexpected, and the results were pretty abysmal. So let me tell you, basically, and if you were to take my upcoming course on how to do the best workshops possible to generate leads for your financial coaching business, that's the one I'm working on, because that is really how I generated. Probably 98% of my leads were from attendees to my presentations, seminars, workshops. You can call them different things, but that's where I got people. You have 20 people come, maybe you turn 2 into a client or whatever it might be. And so you're doing these things. It's really marketing feeder. That's why I say, I would not charge for workshops unless sometimes the irony of it is getting charged for the workshop maybe makes people more interested in coming, makes them more committed to coming and putting in the time. So anything is possible. But I will tell you about this one because my philosophy on this, and I'll get more detail into more detail in it on the course, but I believe that you should shift the burden of organizing and recruiting and enticing people to come to the workshop to someone else, right? Doesn't that sound nice? Employ someone else to do all the hard work, do all that pavement pounding, all that selling, marketing for you. And the way to do that is to partner with other organizations who have their own audiences, so that you can come with the content and then obviously the talent and the capability to teach and to inspire and to lead people, but let them put the butts in the seats for you. And so this is generally the strategy I've had, and it's worked out very well. In most cases, for local workshops, I really wouldn't expect more than 20 or 30 attendees. You're kind of working with organizations like I worked with a realtor organization. So I was working with 20 or 30 realtors at the time who were also then thinking about me when they were working with their clients and saying, hey, you can't afford this. Your credit score is not that high, or you don't have enough of a down payment and things like that. And I really wanted to be top of mind for them. I went to some of the entrepreneur groups, right? So people starting small businesses. I worked in some of the churches. I was the financial topic presenter, or I led the part that we talked about finances with new couples. So couples that would go to these organizations to do pre-marriage counseling. I was the person for our area, and I would hold these workshops, and you'd have all these people. Sometimes they were in their 50s or 60s getting married for a second or third time, or maybe the first time. Sometimes they were in their teens getting ready to get married as soon as they got back for junior year of college, whatever it might be. So you just get all sorts of different people. And that's where I really liked it, because you get to establish some rapport with people. They get to see how you work and what you know, and if you're a good fit for them. They're kind of interviewing you at that time. It doesn't cost me anything except some time, and then I got clients from it, right? So, we'll talk more about that and how to do it. But that being my strategy, I was actually working with, and I would call them a megachurch in our area here in the greater metropolitan area. They had, at the time, 5 campuses, and they worshiped somewhere in the neighborhood of 18,000 people a week. So one of the campuses was the very biggest campus, but all of the campuses were pretty big. In fact, the smallest campus, I think, had something like 27 or 2,800 worshipers. So pretty big reach. And actually, I was working with the director of stewardship. So what they wanted to do was to kind of help everyone there achieve their financial freedom so that they could in turn help support the church and their mission. So I think pretty valiant. So the stewardship director for the entire organization said, hey, I want to help my people get healthy. I don't want to keep going back to them and asking them for support to help other things when some of these people need the help that we're providing. And so I said, great, yeah, I would love to do some stuff. And one of the things that we talked about was helping some of the newlyweds. In fact, they were doing lots of weddings. They were having weddings, obviously, in their facility. They had they had the space and capability to host the receptions in their facility. So really big church, marrying a lot of young couples. This was kind of a place for a lot of young couples kind of starting families. So we decided to do something for newlyweds. I was already experienced in having some of these pre-marriage finance discussions. We can talk a little bit more about that, joining finances, keeping them separate, all these things, married, filing jointly. Anyway, so we did this and we promoted it. They promoted it to all the campuses. People could come. We actually had one of the sanctuary areas reserved for doing the presentation. I would do the presentation. He would do the introduction. It was open to the community too. So they were having their members also promoted to anyone that they knew. So if someone had kids that were getting married and they were members of the church and their kids were not, they could invite them to come to the workshop. The workshop was free. On top of that, we were also promoting it with some of the businesses because of the footprint of this church. A lot of companies were willing to get involved as well. So we had some of the dress vendors. They would put up displays around the perimeter of the room, so they were able to set up a table. And a number of bakeries also wanted to display their wares. We also had some of the local caterers. I would say that this was not like a trade show. None of these people sent representatives. But before the workshop, anyone who wanted to participate, we would set up a table and then they could bring their stuff. So a lot of bakeries brought a full-on wedding cake, and then people were allowed and encouraged after the workshop to help themselves to the cake, take the brochures, look at the dresses. Again, these were all unattended displays just to help people, as they were thinking about this, have a one-stop shop to kind of think about, hey, what food are we going to serve? Where are we going to get the cake? Where am I going to get the tuxedos? All of this stuff. So it was not just to get your finances in order, but there was a lot of other value to come too. And we had, a lot of volunteers. The stewardship director probably had, 40 kind of long tables set up with maybe 4 chairs at a table, and then there were auxiliary seats. Obviously in the sanctuary area, they kind of put out folding seats, so they had some space. But there were a number of chairs set up so that if there was some overflow problems, we could put people there, and then they would just have to take notes in their lap or whatever. Screens projected, 2 huge screens. The cameras would follow me. I had an earpiece microphone on, and it was going to just be a really great event, and I was looking forward to it, and they were putting so much effort and publicity behind it. I invited some people myself. I knew a couple, Terry and James, and they were getting married. I said, hey, we're doing this thing at this local campus, and if you want to come, I'd love to have you. And so they said they would be there. And then the time comes, and we're all set up for this thing, and seminar time is here, and the clock is rolling up on the time, and I see Terry and her fiance come in, and I greet them, and we're kind of talking. I sit them right up in the front and all that. We wait another 5 minutes, kind of past start time, and I'm kind of just shooting the breeze with them to kind of kill time and let people flow in. And so it's possible they're outside because we actually had a table outside where they could grab coffee and some snacks, some donuts, things like that as they were coming in. And so soon people were congregating out there. Director of stewardship went out to just make sure that he was coaxing everyone in that needed to come in. And the reality is that my friend Terry and her fiance were the only ones attending. So we had this huge thing set up. After all of that promotion to all the campuses, all the church people, all of their extended network to the community, we had 2 people show up. 2 people that I invited directly to come to this thing. I could have certainly just gone to their house or something and met with them. So what I ended up doing was I pulled a chair from another table and I just sat down with them. I said, there's no point for me to present on the stage like this. Let's actually just kind of talk about some of the concepts, and then we can get into some of the specifics. And so that's what we did for the next hour, and ended up working with Terry and her fiance, who's now husband, wonderful couple. Also financially stable and secure, which is always a great thing too. But my point on this is that you can put a lot of effort into promoting your own workshops. You can end up not having anyone come to that. And if you do, that would be a worst attended workshop. But just given all of the effort from multiple people, the huge pool of potential attendees, the community, the church, all the people that this person socialized with, the volunteers that we had significantly outnumbered the people that attended. And so it's may not be, I probably had a workshop where no one attended and I just left after 30 minutes, but that one stuck in my crawl as one of just the biggest bombs I've ever had, because you would think you would have not only just a good, strong showing, but you might have a great showing, and I had a terrible showing. Now, I don't want to discount what Terry and her husband did, good for them. We ate a lot of cake that night. I think they already had a dress, so they didn't have that issue, but What I want to say here is that you could spend all your time doing this, trying to get people to come to your workshops, promoting them, going to the library, putting up flyers, standing outside the grocery store and handing out flyers. And I bring these up because I've done them all. And people just won't come. Sometimes it just takes that personal invitation to someone who actually has a need for your services. Now, I will say that that is one of the big reasons that I try to offload this to other organizations as much as possible, because you could spend hours and hours and hours trying to get people to come and you just don't get a good turnout. It's not a good use of your time. And so that's why I wanted to bring this up. Hopefully you do not have that experience, that much investment in something and that little payoff for it. But I also hope that, you understand that, partnering up with right organizations and the right people can make your life a little easier. Although every now and then it might not turn out so well. So hopefully that helps you. I just wanted to let you know about my worst attended workshop. I'll see you later.